Dean Graziosi is a multiple New York Times best-selling author, investor, and an entrepreneur who's been involved in over 13 companies that have been changing lives all over the globe. He went from growing up in poverty, overcoming a learning disability, and rebuilding cars as a mechanic to becoming a highly successful real estate entrepreneur and best-selling author.
Need motivation? Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules to success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, be amazing in everything that you do.
No matter what you're doing, even if you hate it, realize it's temporary and be amazing at it. I sat down with John Paul DiGiorio, who started Tequila, Patron, and Sassoon, and he said he hated.
His name's come to me a couple times this week. Go ahead.
He said he hated when he had a janitorial job when he was a kid. But he said, man, it was my job. I cleaned the boss came to him and said, man, I lifted up the desk. You cleaned under the desk. He's like, the guy thought I loved the job. I hated it. I just did it the best. And I realized one of my first real estate deal did over $1 million. True story. I was fixing a guy's car, and I'm in the collision shop. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I hated the collision shop. I ended up being the only painter because I got good at it. So every night when everybody left, I'd paint for 3 hours. The ventilation wasn't good. I'd have headaches. I hated every inch of it, but you'd never know. If you came in, you'd be like, that guy loves being in the collision shop. I knew it was temporary because don't think I'm just gonna schlub through this job and then my magic will come. You'll be screwed. You'll stay there because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm literally in the collision shop. I have this guy, he comes down, he's like, my God, my car looks great, thank you so much. We get talking, become kind of friends really quick, and he says, what are you up to? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm working on my day job. My night job is real estate. I'm gonna take real estate to a whole nother level. He's like, what do you got going on? At that time, I was working on a deal for $180,000 to buy an old vineyard. Okay. And I didn't have the money. I scraped up every credit card I had. I came up with like 45 grand. The seller agreed to sell it to me for half down and half in 2 years. I needed 45 grand. I tell this guy the story. I said, but I'm gonna get it. He goes, yeah, you're gonna get it because I'm going home to get it for you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, what if I was like, oh, I hate collision. Yeah, here's your keys.
Yeah.
I made $1 million on that deal. It was the first one ever, documented.
Awesome.
I sold that property. I killed it on that property. Killed it.
What a great
all the
story.
neighbors didn't want me to build on the property, and I was fighting them. And then I realized, wow, what if I sell it to them? So I sold them all a piece around, and I crushed it. I killed it. So that's the first thing. Yeah. So no matter what you're doing, find a way to be enthusiastic, knowing that maybe the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is putting you through your trial run to deserve that.
Rule number 2, understand others.
Out of all my years of doing this and being lucky to sell, I wasn't a scientist of selling. I was just I had an innate ability to sell through that passion. And then you get your 10,000 hours in and all of a sudden it becomes good, right? Yeah. So on the job training,
of course,
right? Of course. But when I look back, and if I go off in an area that you want to reel me back in, reel it back in, but people buy from you, will love you, will learn from you, will give you a promotion when they feel understood. Not when they understand you. And that was one of the biggest lessons ever. When you watch someone who is so full of knowledge, so full of wisdom, and wants to sell their product, sell themselves, get the raise, close the deal at the boardroom, they always want to just exude who they are, their credentials, what they have, and how they could solve the problem. And that will get you so far. Like, being great at sharing who you are will get you out of Egypt. Understand how people feel and letting them feel understood will get you to the promised land, right? So when you go to an audience or you're talking to close a deal, most people want to share. Most of the time you just need to be quiet and find what's going on in that person's life. Be an expert at the temporary state of mind. Like, understand what they're going through at that minute and let them feel understood. When you let people feel understood, when someone's watching you, and you do an amazing job, dude. I've been watching you forever, and I love what you do. But when someone watches you and go, man, that guy gets me. He understands where I'm going at. He understands my struggles. He understands where I want to go. That's someone I can hitch my cart to, rather than someone who's got great credentials and tells you can go, I understand that person, but I don't think he understands where I'm at. Right. And so the two things when it comes to an infomercial, comes to anything with persuasion, the two things I always tell myself is, how do I make sure that person feels understood? And secondly, how do I enter a conversation going on in their mind, not mine? You know, when you were on your sister's couch, you had different struggles, right?
Absolutely,
now I come to Doheny Drive in LA, you're in a completely different world, a completely different space, flying to the White House and all this stuff that you got going on. The conversations in your head have changed dramatically from when you were on your sister's couch to now.
Yeah.
So what happens, and I've watched this with marketers and people in business, as they evolve, they hit a certain, you remember that pain, that passion, the desire for more. I mean, you could probably close your eyes right now and remember that desire and thinking, am I ever going to make it? And even a little bit of envy for maybe some of your buddies who made it, or a little jealousy. Doesn't mean that you wished ill thoughts on them, but it's like, damn it, they made it. I don't have it. What if I never get it? If you remember that pain, if you remember that process, you remember that thoughts, you will always serve anybody watching who needs that. But what happens to some people is, as they evolve, and you're going to join the country club, maybe you're going to get married, you're going to move to the suburbs, now you got an accountant and you got 2 assistants, and now should I hire a sales team? Got a private jet, and then is the pilot going to be late? And then and then you're like, I got a Facebook team. Should I outsource the Facebook marketing? And all of a sudden, your conversations change. You get to do an interview, or you pitch on camera, or you do an infomercial, and all of a sudden you're having conversations in your head, and your audience feels disconnected. And you don't even know why. You're like, what did I miss? Because now you're asking questions of a completely different group because you've evolved. So the two things, again, I always go back to, even before I turn the camera on, before I go on stage, before I do an infomercial, I said, people buy from you, love you, adore you, will learn from you if they feel understood. And I want to enter conversations going on in their heads, not mine.
Rule number 3, have the right habits.
Ever since that journey, and starting even before that with More Than Millions, I realized that people are searching, like, and again, I digress sometimes, but everybody's in a vehicle, like your wealth creation vehicle, whether that's a job you don't like, or a job you do like, or a business you started, or a business that's crushing, or business that's not doing great. You have this vehicle. And when this vehicle's not working, we're looking on the road of all the other shiny cars. And it's like, oh man, I tried selling stuff on Amazon, that's not working. I'm gonna go in the car business, the real estate business. I'm gonna go in the speaking business, the nutrition business, the supplement. And you're looking for another car to jump in. And I realized people jump from car to car to car their whole life, looking for satiation, looking for satisfaction, looking to make more money. And I got to see it firsthand, Tom, because I was in the business of teaching people how to make money with real estate. And when they would call into customer service, when they would send in for a refund, or I'd see them at an event, they never said, ever, I tried your real estate stuff, it sucks. Never. We used to send surveys to listen, go, how come you're not making money yet? Is it, the time, effort, energy, Dean's training sucks? 1% would pick the training sucks. And what I realized over all these years is that, and the reason I wrote Millionaire Success Habits, is you could literally give someone a business on how to sell $20 bills for $5, and they'd screw it up because of their beliefs, because of the fear of rejection, because the fear of selling, because of the fear of marketing, because other people told them they couldn't, or they feel they need certain criteria, they need initials at the end of their name, like they need all these things. And at the end of the day, what you wrote, your impact theory, you call them beliefs?
Yeah.
Impact theory beliefs. It's kind of the same beliefs that are in my book, but it's also the same beliefs that are in 3/4 of the books that you have in your shelf now, and the incredible people you've interviewed. And I just saw that if we can give people, if we can go upstream, if you can stop jumping from vehicle to vehicle, the vehicle you're in might be the right vehicle, but you don't have the right habits or the right beliefs or the right rules, whatever you want to call it. My book's Habits, so I call them habits. But it's really the foundation for success, so you can overcome the obstacles. You don't let negative people in your life steer you in different directions. It doesn't, even people will ask me about productivity. People say, how do you get so much done? How do you run a business and still coach Little League and baseball and softball? How do you do all those things? It's because of just simple success habits. Like, I just wrote something on this recently. I said, you have to treat your decisions for productivity like binary thinking, which is X's and O's, black or white, yes or no. Is this moving me toward a better version of myself, a wealthier version, a happier version, or is it not? Successful people this doesn't serve that better version of me, I'm not doing it, right? So there's all these little rules, and I think, and I know this even when I met with Branson, I think people meet someone who's successful, people meet you, and they're like, okay, what is it? Like there's this little, like, okay, nobody's looking. Wah, and it lights up, and like, here it is, right? And it's not the big thing. Like, even when I was sailing with Branson, I wanted to say to him, so what is it? But it's not. When I get done talking to him for 3 hours, he's got the same habits that you have, the same rules that you have written down on that plaque that's amazing. In my opinion, it's never the big things. It's all the little changes you can make in your life, and none of them are dramatic at each level. It's like just following these little principles that have worked for so many years, and you start putting them in your life, and all of a sudden decisions start going easier. The money starts to change. The business starts to do good. The thoughts in your head start to project a bigger future rather than negativity. I think it's the buildup of the habits or beliefs.
Rule number 4, live the right way.
So David Kekage is a friend of a friend, really, but I've met him a couple times. Great guy. And he was paralyzed from the neck down, a guy that was into health and fitness and taking care of his body. And living in a wheelchair, not being able to do anything for himself, he's thrived on a whole new level and does so much for innovating and helping other people with the same circumstances. But the reason I'm sharing this is because he did 30 Kekage credos to live by if you want to live a joyful life. And this is somebody in a wheelchair now. Remember the obstacles he has every single day when he wakes up. Can barely swallow on his own. I mean, think about that, right? So one of his credos is, if you live life the hard way, it's easy. And if you live life the easy way, it's hard. And here's what I equate that to. We have to pick our pain. Think about that. Now, let's just use a silly analogy. Is working out easy? No, it's a pain in the butt. Going to the gym, it might be hard. It's painful, right? But not exercising and not working out, will that be painful someday in your life? Will it be that you're out of shape and you get heart failure? Will it be out of shape and you're overweight and get diabetes? Will it be out of shape that you don't have muscle tone and you break a hip someday? I mean, you might be young, not thinking about that now, but living the easy way of no working out, can that be more painful? Absolutely. What about eating healthy? Can it be painful to eat the right food and not choose the greasy fried food and not get up and have a coffee and a donut and try to have green juices and live green veggies and eat lean protein and do those things? Is that a pain? Yeah. And it's kind of hard. It's the hard way. It's the hard way, but it gives you an easy life. So you're full of abundance, joy. You feel healthy. You want to thrive. You can run. If you have kids, you can move, or when you have kids someday, or you can live to see your great grandchildren, right? So living the hard way, meaning do the right thing, eat the right food, work out, might be a little hard, but that's the path to an easy life. If you want to live the easy way now and not work out and eat terrible food, maybe it's temporarily easy, but will that give you long-term health and satisfaction? And even if you make the money without your health, are you really wealthy? Heck no, right? But think about that also with your success. This is the Millionaire Success Habits podcast. But the foundation for success is if I gave you the tools to make money, but didn't share with you that you should be fulfilled and satisfied and healthy, then I'm just a fraud. Because it all ties together. If you got money out of the way today, the next thing you would be worried about or thinking about is, how do you live the best version of you? How do you be the best mom, dad, son, brother, cousin, spouse, right? So I want you to think about it when it comes to your next level of income, next level of long-term wealth, or starting a side business. The easy way is hard in the long run. The easy way is to settle for the job that you're in that's killing you. The easy way is to look for a magic money machine online and not spend time with your habits. The easy way is hope that someone does it for you. The easy way is to hope the government changes the rules and more money comes to you. That's all the easy way. And what do? You sit around and hope for years and years and years, and then you look back at the end of your life and time is gone. You look back at the end of your life and you go, I wish I would have gone after it harder. in the beginning. So the hard way may be listening to podcasts like this, reading books like Millionaire Success Habits and all the other books that come from people that are actually doing it, or get enrolled in courses, or get involved in a mastermind, or dig deep to find the research to know if you're in the right path, if you're in a future-proof industry or not. Yeah, that might be a little harder now. It might be harder now to wake up when everybody in your family tells you you're insane, when your friends and relatives say you should be happy with the life you have, or people tell you you don't have enough money, you don't have the right education, you don't live in the right area, you don't have the right pedigree, you didn't get the right degree. People can all tell you that. And it's hard to overcome them. It's hard to overcome getting up and going for it. It's hard to overcome procrastination. It's hard to overcome getting sucked into social media. Go check your bank account and 2 hours go by going down rabbit holes of stupid things. That's hard. It's hard if you're in a relationship and the other person thinks that you should be strict and steady in your job and do the right thing and follow the rules. It's hard to step out of the line when 98% of the world listen to somebody else. They live a mediocre life. They live an okay life. Do you want to live an okay life? Or do you want to live an outstanding life? Do you want to live a good life? How's your relationship? Good. How's your health? Good. How's your income? Good. How's your job? Good. Do you want to live good? Or do you want to live excellence? Do you want to live great? Do you want to live an outstanding life? If we do, then David Kekich has it right. The Kekich credo that if you want to live the hard way now gives you the easy life. The easy way now gives you the hard life. So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. I see you impacting lives, doing amazing stuff on YouTube. I want to share whatever works for, your following, my following today. But I want to share, dude, your book, Built to Serve. You are built to serve. There's a difference when, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes, or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a built to serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like, there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. What you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. You reach out to my team all the time and want to help with YouTube and tell us what we're doing wrong. And you're not doing it because of finances. You're not doing it because you're trying to get an edge. You're doing it just because this is who you are, man. So I love seeing you out there. I love seeing you grow. I love seeing the impact you're making.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. I'm still working on accepting compliments. So I'll just say thank you.
Oh, then I'm going to keep doing it through this entire thing to make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, great. Classic Dean. All right, cool. Well, also in that story, you've been really helpful in getting that book out. I remember when I came to Puerto Rico and was trying to get feedback on pre-launch, you and Brendan Burchard took time backstage while you're doing your big event. People paid all this money to come there, and you took time over lunch for 40 minutes to do a deep dive on my strategy. And just super grateful that you guys did that. And you hooked me up with your warehouse and, a whole bunch of things that Dean's a big reason why the book has got out there.
Just a little piece, man. Just what's up, everybody. I see the highs. So listen, appreciate everybody. I see all the cool comments coming in. So how can we deliver some value today? How do we help out? Besides, I do got to plug this. Like, if you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer. But when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it's just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself, so there's always.
Oh, dude, please send that to me.
Rule number 5, focus on depth.
I think we live in a shallow world. I think shallow meaning we're, especially a new generation who grew up going through a stream, right? So what used to be hours went to minutes and now it's seconds, right? If something doesn't catch you in a second. And I feel like a lot of people want that next level, which is great. Everybody should, but we dabble in each one and we don't see enough spark, excitement, or light, so we back out and go to the next one. It's like they're looking for the magic money machine and they're in one car and they're like, this car might work. Oh, that car looks good. And then we jump out in the next one and we jump out in the next one. So I would say even though, you know, I'm 50 this year, so I've had like different lives, I went deep on all of them.
Rule number 6, limit your suffering.
Everybody watching, we suffer on all different levels of suffering. Some people suffer on a high level. Some people suffer because is the job going to get done? Is the deal going to come through? Like, we have these moments of suffering, no matter if it's 5 minutes of suffering or an hour of suffering or months of suffering. Right. Some people lose a relationship and they suffer for years. Some people have a partner take their money. They suffer for years and they're stuck in that. And if you can limit the time you suffer, the more you can work on the solutions to better your life. People stuck in suffering are stuck forever. And we know, right now I'm saying it, and you're thinking of friends that you have that are stuck. They went, found some suffering, and they just crippled.
Or moments where I was suffering and I didn't let go of it.
You can't let go of it, right?
Or I held on to it for too long and it hurt me.
Right, and if you hold on to it, there's not enough energy or focus to keep moving forward. That's when you stall, right?
Yeah.
So what I've been on this obsession, and literally Tony Robbins flew out. Him and I got really close. He flew out, and him and I had lunch about 9 months ago, and he's on the same thing of like eliminating, like, complete suffering gone. Like, instead of it hours or weeks, it's moments that you catch it.
Rule number 7, have a morning routine.
If I immediately when I wake up, I can't check my phone. In fact, I put it on airplane mode and I move it. I got that from Ariana Huffington, who's amazing, and she's like, "Is your phone still by your bed?" She goes, "Airplane mode on the other side of the room," you know? So that, and then I just know so many people roll over and grab their phone, and to me that's like Russian roulette. You put a bullet in the gun and you spin it. It's like, what if the email says the deal didn't happen, numbers are down, life's not working out? Like, and immediately for me, it's like you open up and this little box is gonna dictate the first couple hours or maybe the whole day by what you see. So I just won't look at my phone when I first wake up. But when I first open my eyes, this is all, and I like doing things quick for me because I want to get to the gym because it's the only time of day I'll go. If I try to wait till the afternoon, it doesn't work for me. So as soon as I wake up, I immediately try to think of something I'm grateful for, which everybody knows that and thinks about it. But I play this game with myself on how far I can lower the bar, meaning I tried to do a gratitude journal about 3 years ago. And after about 5 weeks, I ran out of stuff to say. I'm like, I already wrote my kids and this and life. Like, what did I put in here? Like, I don't. And then I was like, wow, 150,000 people die every single day. You can Google it, that's the number. It's like, some days I wake up and I'm just like, I'm here, awesome. And I feel that silly little thing like I'm here. Or I'll be like, oh my God, the sheets feel softer than they've ever felt. And I'll literally think to myself, these sheets are really good. Like, what, a third of the world sleeps on a dirt floor? And I have sheets and an amazing bed, and look at the view I have. And that's enough, just because the way I look is I'm just tweaking my brain enough to be in a grateful place. It doesn't have to be this, for me, and you guys might have better practices. I'm not talking about a half-hour gratitude meditation. I just need one little thing, or I pick up a book. If I'm reading one of the books that you have on the shelf, I'll just pick 3 sentences and read something empowering, and I'll get that state of mind for my brain. And then I think about one win I had the day before. Because I know as entrepreneurs, as somebody searching for success, we never give ourselves credit. We never treat a friend the way we treat ourselves. It's like, I know I've had days I've gone till 10 o'clock at night and go, man, I got nothing done today. It was the biggest lie. Like, we beat ourselves up. We're like these racehorses. We wouldn't even treat a racehorse that we owned as bad as we treat ourselves, right? So I wake up and I'll do a quick little gratitude, and they'll say, what was one win yesterday that I accomplished? And I'm like, wow, you did do that yesterday. And then I'll think of one win I want to do that day. Like, what, I'm gonna need 1 million things done today, but what's a must today that would be a great win? And then for me, then I immediately go downstairs in my house and I drink, I felt like I fed my mind, and then I wanna feed my body. So for me, I've been doing the same drink forever. I do apple cider vinegar, lemon, MCT oil, a scoop of green powder, and mix that up, and I down that, and then I immediately gotta go to the gym.
Rule number 8, get bigger problems.
If you want more success, get bigger problems.
It's so true.
As simple as that sounds, and like, oh, Dean, that was so enlightening. No, it is. Because this is simple, the lowest form. Like, I've just started realizing I want bigger problems, because I remember the stress of my first real estate deal where I made probably $5 grand.
Yeah.
Right? Worked my ass off, was stressing, worried. The town didn't want to give me a permit, then the seller was falling through, and I was running out of money. It was so stressful. And then I remember, a couple months ago, I signed a $18 million deal. And there was the same exact amount of stress. It doesn't matter. And again, I say that I said I judge myself. I don't ever want to come across pretentious or saying, "Oh, look at me with my $18 million deal." I don't mean that. I just want you to know that the stress you feel to pay your bills or get ahead, or it's the same stress whether you're making 10, 100, 10 million, or 100 million a year. It feels the same. So if it feels the same, then why not avoid lower end problems so you can spend time solving bigger ones? I mean, I'm in a phase of my life. I'm not shitting you. If I order medium rare steak at a restaurant and they bring me well done chicken, I just eat it.
So do I.
Who gives a shit?
So do I. I'm the same way. It's
like somebody cuts me off in traffic and then flips me off. I'm like, wow, they need bigger problems. Traffic is bugging you that much, you'll never be successful. So know that. If you're annoyed because a friend doesn't ask you to go to the mall, or someone cut you off in traffic, or you think a friend offended you, or you think a coworker's being a little rude, then you're screwed because you're worrying about the wrong things. Spend that energy on solving big problems and you accomplish big things.
Rule number 9, apply the 7 levels deep exercise.
There's a part actually that I wanted to go over in your book called the 7 levels deep. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And this is an exercise that you do, right? And what is this exercise for? And how does it go?
Okay, so 7 levels deep was probably the biggest impact, the biggest thing in the impact of my life ever.
Really?
Yeah, one day. So I hired a guy named Joe Stump. Do you know Joe Stump?
No.
Great guy. He's in the marketing world, but I hired him because I want more engagement with my students. So it's all about, if you can get somebody to digest some of your book, if somebody will read 30 pages of your book, they'll read the whole book. But how do you get them to the first 30 pages? So I'm always obsessing and trying to create ethical bribes, whatever I can do to get you to take action, right? We know books work. It's the books and the action. So anyway, so Joe comes in and I said, I want to do whatever I can. And he said, have you ever done the 7 levels deep? I don't know where he got it from. This is probably about 8 years ago. She was 2, so about 8 years ago. And I said, well, if it's good, just give it to me.
Right.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And he's like, I want to go through it with you. I'm like, listen. And I paid Joe $10,000 for half a day of consulting at the time. And he's like, I said, I don't want to go through. I just want it. He goes, I won't give it to you unless you do it. So we sit there, and what the 7 levels deep is finding. Everybody wants to know your purpose and what's this meaning of life and what's my why and all that. I get it, and it's kind of played out. But I don't know if anything really gets to the heart of it as simple as this. So what it basically was, he's like, why would you give me $10,000 for half a day? And I said, because I want to create a company that stands out from everybody else. I want to engage more students, change more lives. And he basically said to me, that's a really great answer. So I asked you why I'm here. And you said you want to engage more students and get more people to change their lives. So why is it important for you to engage more students and change people's lives? And I remember saying, there's a lot of people in this industry that shouldn't be here, and there's some great people. I want to help rise all boats of the good and push the rest out. I want to leave a legacy for my kids. So he said, okay, I asked you why you paid me $10,000. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. And he's like, you did this, you said you wanted to stand out and you wanted to leave a legacy. So why is it important to leave a legacy? And the whole point is asking the previous question 7 times. I took that day. By the time I got to the 3rd question, what happens is when there was 3 questions left, I should say, he asked me 4 times, it switched from my head to my heart. And I felt my physiology change. I felt my emotions change. I felt like tears welling up. And when he asked me, and I don't even remember what the 4th thing I said, but the 3rd thing I said was, I never want to go backwards. And he got me thinking about things I haven't thought about in years.
Wow.
I didn't like being the kid with hand-me-downs, and I'd make my parents drop me off down the street with their junky car, and I'd go to lunch. And this is not a poor me. My life was designed to be exactly the way it was, or I wouldn't be the man or the father I am today. But there was days I'd go to school without lunch money, and I just tell my buddies I'm not hungry because we didn't have a buck, right? So I never want to go back there. And I felt that emotion, and it hit me so hard. I'm like, that's what it is. And he's like, well, there's 2 more left. So he said, Dean, why is it important that you never go backwards? And I'm like, God, I don't know. And it hit me, and I thought, my kids, I just want to give them options. I don't want to raise entitled kids or brats, but I want to give them options that I didn't have. And I'm like, that's it. So he's like, well, that's not really, it's 7. It's not 9. It's not 5. It's 7 levels deep. And by now I'm crying because I'm thinking about my kids, literally. And I got half my staff there, and I'm like just weeping. And it came to me. He said, why is that important? And it just hit me. And I never knew why I worked so hard since I was cutting firewood in high school and did all this stuff. I said, I need to be in control of my life. And these emotions flooded in my parents. Everybody's got their thing, right? But for me, and I'm saying this because I want you at home to be, or when you're watching this, listen to this. I realized that my parents were married 9 times when I was a kid. So I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. Different stepbrothers, stepsisters.
Both parents were married.
5 for my dad,
Wow.
5 for my mom, 4 for my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. Always moving. Like military kids know what that feels like, right? So I'd be in a cul-de-sac with a new stepdad, stepbrother, stepsisters, have the bike, come home one day, and my mom's like, we're moving again. And then I move in with my dad, move in with my grandmother. So I had this crazy hopscotch my whole childhood.
Certainty.
There was no certainty. So what I realized at that moment, literally, I'm bawling. I mean, like literally crying. It's like, I don't want anybody to ever tell me when to move, how to dress, how to live, how to work, how I'm going to raise my kids. It's definitely not going to kiss somebody's ass for money. Right. And I realized at that moment, my why was I don't want to be a control freak. I just want to be in control. When I was 27, I retired both my parents. I stopped worrying about them. I took care of my grandmother. I take care of so I got those problems out of the way. And when I anchored that in, and you watching at home, it's like, if you think you're watching this because you want to be an entrepreneur, or you already are. If you're watching this, you've already had great success in your life. You want that next level, or maybe it's income, or better health, or better diet, or better physiology, whatever it is you want. So many times we think it's because I want to get out of that job. I want this freedom. I just want more money. I want to take the better vacations. And it's 7 times deeper than that. And when you find that, and the reason I know this, not only because it wasn't just transformational to me, is I did live events in Las Vegas for 6 years straight. Every single month, there was 400 people in the room that paid $20,000 to go to
real estate events, right?
Real estate events. So about 5.5 years I did them every month in Las Vegas. So once a month I'd fly in, and that was like the highest level. And every single month I'd pick somebody out of the audience, and I'd say, come on up, let's do this 7 levels deep. Like, I got it, man. I know what it is. And I'm like, okay, so like, I'm gonna give you a quick example. I won't beat this up, but this is so important because when you feel fatigued, when you want to say no, when you don't want to go to the gym, when you don't want to make that sales call, when you don't want to get your funnel working, when you don't want to start new, when you don't want to say no to someone you should say no to, or say yes to someone else you should say yes to, literally for me still, I fall back on my why. And when I think of my kids and going backwards and being in control, I could push through anything. Nothing will stop me. A bad day. I don't know what it's like to be sick because my mind, I can program my brain to just power through because I focus foundationally on this why.
Right.
So I remember this guy, he was awesome. This big dude, he had dreadlocks. He was like 6'7". I mean, 6'5". He was huge. This awesome dude. He comes up. He's like, man, picked me up. He gives me this big hug. He's like, so I said, why are you here? He's like, I already know, dude. You're not going to get 7 levels on me. You're not gonna. I've already done the exercise. He says, I'm here because in my neighborhood, there's no dads. There's not enough dads in my neighborhood. I grew up without a dad. These kids need dads. So I'm making money in real estate, and I'm starting this youth group. I already had dad. We get dads together, and we go spend these days. He had this amazing story, and I melted on the first one. And I said, well, why is that important? He goes, dude, what do you mean, why is that important to you? Of course it's important. And he's laughing, he's joking, and he gives me another reason. I want more money because I want to build a building for it. But I could tell he was still in his head. He gets to number 2 or 1, and everything changed on him. He gets small, and he starts crying. I mean, like uncontrollable crying. And he gets to his number 1. He's like, my mom raised a good boy, but when she died 9 years ago, I was a drug addict. And she never saw the man she created. And she said, I'm showing her in heaven what a man I'm saying it right now. I got physical good. Yeah. He said that, and he said, I'll never stop now. I'll never stop. And again, we all have our own reasons for doing stuff, but when you get to the heart of why you're watching, why you do what you do, it's so much deeper than what you think. And I forget sometimes. I hope I don't sit here and seem like I got my life all figured out. I've been blessed to have I've had more blessings in my life than I ever could imagine. If somebody would have told me at 25, this is where I'd be, I'd say impossible. So I appreciate my blessings, but I'm not perfect at all this stuff, but when I practice these habits, when I think through this, when I recognize my why, the days that I'm off track, the days that I think I bit off more than I can chew, or the days where I feel like I plateaued, when I go back to that why, it's like game over. You're not getting in my way. Nothing is.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is live in the now.
My stepdad, who has been my stepdad since I was 9 years old, so I've known him for 41 years. He was my mom's high school sweetheart. They went to the prom together, and then he went away to the army. She married my dad, and then they got back together. Great guy. 2 days ago, he had a stroke in the middle of the night. Kind of haven't slept much since. Had a stroke, and then the next day he had a heart attack, and he's not doing so great. And I've been spending a lot of time with him, and I see him sitting. He can't talk because of the stroke. And I see him looking around and looking at his family and looking at my mom and his kids. And I just know it's like you've heard so many times in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. You know that Covey talks about coming to the end of your life and literally being in the hospital and hearing the buttons and the beeps and hearing people talk about you, when you look, who do you want to see? Who do you want to be there? And what do you want them to be saying about you? Think about that. Now, I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm just in this space for me personally. But here's what I know is, how long are you going to put off what you crave so bad? If you're watching a Millionaire Success Habits or listening to a Millionaire Success Habits podcast, you want another level of life. But there's things in your life that right now you should be saying no to. Right now, you should be saying yes to and going after. But we think we have all this time. Listen, my stepdad, he's young. He's only 76 years old. I bet to say, looking through his eyes, that he just felt like he'd have forever. Listen, today, I'm more personal in the podcast than I am in any other place. Today, I broke down and cried in a way I haven't in a really long time. I'm parking so I can talk here. I broke down today and I cried really hard. I cried because some of it was just looking through his eyes, and I could see the sadness of wow, is this it? Is it over? And I'd love for you to just take a moment and think about, if this was the end of your life, what should you be saying no to right this second? What should you be saying yes to right this second? Here's what I know. People who say money can't buy happiness or money doesn't make you happy, to me, you haven't made enough and you haven't given enough away. So get rid of that money is evil thing. That's just foolish. I'm blessed to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, because I got money out of the way. That's great. So you might be saying, good for you, Dean, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, if money is important, that next level is important so you can pay for speed, so you can pay for freedom, so you can pay for control of your life, then freaking go for it. But find the balance. Find out why you're doing it right now. What does success mean to you? You know what it means to me in my life right now is that I get to do what I want when I want with my kids. They're 9 and 11. They're growing so fast, I can't slow it down. So I want to coach Little League. I want to coach softball. I want to go to every game. But here's what I know. I've even slacked. And you know, I love doing this training. I love sharing with you, because if I'm not congruent, if I don't share a message that I actually live, then I'm kind of full of shit, for lack of a better word. I'm just someone babbling. You're not here because you just want to hear someone talk. You want to hear someone who's been through it, who can admit their flaws. I love saying this. I love talking about it because I screw this up sometimes. I want to tell you something. This is really personal. Today, at 4 o'clock, my daughter, she's 11, she pitches, she's a great pitcher, she made the all-star team, but today they're going to the local high school team that's really good, Arcadia High School. And I got them tickets, I got them all set up, but I had work to do, so I was going to let them go, and all her friends. And screw that. Because of what I'm going through with Lenny and seeing that, what am I going to get some more emails done, work on my next $1 million? I'm not saying it to brag. I'm just saying, what am I going to do? Or when I'm on my deathbed, am I going to say, I wish I answered more emails, or I wish I went to that softball game with my daughter and watched her face when she saw high school girls play? Not even a question. Then at 6:30, the game's at 4, at 6:30, I missed my son's last 2 practices because I was really busy. But the 2 before that, I've been coaching him since he was 4 years old. Coaching, assistant coach, glove on, out there, getting dirty. But I have to tell you, this last year, I've kind of let the coaches coach, and I sat back on the bench and answered emails and got work done. I figured it was a great place to get 2 hours worth of work done while my son was out there. And I realized today, screw that. You see what's right here in my passenger seat? That's my baseball glove. Today, there's shorts. Look, I got a pair of shorts in the back seat. I'm going to change it in the car. And today, I'm getting dirty again. I'm going back and practicing with my son again today. Screw that. When I'm where Lenny, my stepdad's name is Lenny, where I'm where Lenny is, I'm not going to be saying, boy, thank God all those baseball practices after the age of 9, I got all those emails done. No, screw that. I'm going to say I was on the field looking at my son in the eye, him watching me be intent, be in the moment, live in the now.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Dean on how to adopt solution-based thinking that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, how are you going to live in the now today? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in a video, you're still here watching, I want to celebrate you, because Believe Nation, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. So if that's you and you commit, you promise you're going to take action immediately after watching this video, give me a hashtag Believe down in the comments and tell me where you're from, because I want to celebrate you.
If you've read anything on personal development, personal growth, spent time on your own development, your own success, your habits, you're here at the Millionaire Success Habits podcast, so I would assume this is the first thing you've ever heard. I would bet to say that you know that solution-based thinking isn't something that can help you go to your next level of life. It's a must. But have you programmed yourself to actually immediately think of solutions? If not, I'm going to encourage you today to revisit this. See, there's so many people in life that, let's just take relationships. They had a bad relationship 5 years ago. Someone cheated on them. And then all of a sudden, they keep looking back at that pain of like, why would someone do that to me? I didn't deserve that. That person is so horrible. They've ruined me. They took away my trust. And you see that one thing, that energy going backwards on whose fault it is, why did it happen? You know you probably didn't deserve it. Of course you didn't deserve it. But there's so much energy going backwards that it's stopping that person from a new relationship. Same when it goes to money. If you've ever had a partner that took advantage of you, or someone that said they were going to give you money to start your new business, or a friend that was going to be a coworker or a co-partner with you, and they screwed you over, or you went through a bankruptcy, or you tried a way to make money and it stung. If you're looking backwards on that, then it's absolutely positively affecting your present. So your past is being dragged into your future because when things went wrong, you didn't focus on a solution, you focused on why it happened to you. In most cases, you didn't deserve it, and probably every case you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve the opportunity not to work, the relationship to go bad, the partner not to come through, you didn't deserve any of it, but it happened. And here's what I know about successful people. They have changed the way they think. You see, your past is there for research and development. Problems, we've talked about this before, problems will always happen. The level of your problems really dictates the level of your life. So without problems, you don't really have a life. Without problems, you're not playing the game of life big enough. You're playing small, and if you wanted a small life, you surely wouldn't be watching me or listening to me. So I want you to think about this in a way that maybe you never have before. Today, I want you to think about how you can change the way you think, that when something goes wrong, you immediately focus on how you can fix it. You immediately put all of your energy, because here's what I know. When something goes wrong, when someone doesn't do the right thing, when the deal doesn't go through, man, we could spend so much energy, effort, time, money, figuring out why and who. That's why there's so many lawsuits. That's why there's fistfights. That's why there's revenge. None of that ever fixes anything. You know who makes it through? The people that go, it happened. What can I learn from it? And how do I immediately take all that energy and focus on fixing it?
If you want 10 awesome rules from Grant Cardone, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Make money, make money, make money, make money your battle cry. Go collect money. Don't make money, just go collect money. Have a great product, have a great service, over-deliver.